Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Know the Facts. As you know, there's been some odd things happening in Shrewsbury. Stuff that is no good. First of all, people are sending me comments, a lot of comments about the selectmen. The show before the last two, that it's too funny when you said the selectmen have a case of dementia. They can't remember when the taxes did not go up. And that's for sure. That's for sure. That is for sure. Well, let's get into the big one. I hope they were a Special Olympian, had the honor of visiting the White House. They did. They must have did an outstanding job. I'd like to get into what Mr. Big Shot, town manager, who hides in his office and doesn't say a damn thing to anybody. And I'm getting a little sick of that. And I'll unsick that pretty soon, believe me. Dr. Claremont was told by the town manager not to go into the senior center. And a man who contributes has found him many hours to the senior center. He does more than 20 people when he does is wonderful. Keep among people. Make sure to go to the doctor and take their meds. Who were you to stop him? Every paper on the East and will know Mother Teresa. Well, I don't think he had the right. And what he came up with was foolishness. Real foolishness. We could get in trouble for having a doctor. He cannot. He doesn't have a business, first of all, and he's nice to the people, and the people in other little towns and cities will reward him because he's giving away medicine that people don't have to buy. And you know as well as I do, some people can't afford medicine. So it's tough. There's another one here I gotta read. It's really good. Here it is, right here. Dear friends, Dr. Claremont has given his permission to forward his email to my inquiry to other members of the pilots class. He is his explanation of what has been transpired. Here is his explanation. The reason I am out of the senior center has to do with the knee-jerk reaction by our young town manager. For 30 years, I have been accepting donations of medicine and medical equipment for redonating it to the needy at our community center. Someone in the senior center reported me to the Board of Registration in Medicine and does not, and to the Board of it was done doing this. Of course, I am illegal. It's been ridiculous. But the town manager banned me from all activities at all buildings. I can live with the fact that I helped thousands of people and never accepted a penny. And that's the truth. And I want to encourage you to watch Bob Abraham's show on Channel 28, Know the Facts. For a description, I missed the exercise classes. The friends and all the good people at the Senior Center, Dr. C. I propose that each of us, other members of our class in Senior Center, send each member of the Board of Selectmen a letter or email to protest the town manager's draconian decision to ban Dr. C's presence. All his activities from our buildings, the public buildings. I wonder if it's even legal. Moreover, the town manager is answerable to the Board of Selectmen. If they have approved his decision, then it must be answerable to the residents of Shrewsbury. They're not going to say nothing if they did something. What are they going to say? They're wrong? Yeah, sure. They're always right. After all, so many people brown nose them and blow smoke up their behind. What do you want? That's the problem. If you do not know the names of the selectmen, you can find the information on the town's website, which should include their individual mailing addresses. Also, you should choose to contact the town manager directly. His name is Kevin Mizaka. Dr. Claremont's service to the town has been invaluable, and he's too valuable to lose. He should not be treated as if he was a criminal and a danger to the community. The town manager's edit cannot be acceptable decision. Please contact friends, neighbors, relatives, anyone who you know who participates in activities at the senior center. Let the senior director and its friends also know that we won't allow Dr. C to resume teaching pilots classes. Thank you. I'm not going to say the person's name, but he's 100% right. I have 2 articles to read, but one article is called A Wake Up on Water Quality. When my young daughters said they were thirsty, I take for granted the water from my kitchen tap is clean and safe. In fact, that's what most Americans assume we should be. Not in Shrewsbury, God forbid in Shrewsbury. You gotta boil a living room sofa, you gotta boil your TV, and you gotta boil the water. As we mark World Water Day on March 22nd, the distributing truth is roughly a quarter of Americans drink water from water systems that violate Safe Drinking Water Act. Violations range from failing to properly test water and to allowing dangerous levels of lead and arsenic, and occur everywhere in the rural communities and big cities. In red states, blue ones, the lead contamination crisis in Flint, Michigan was extreme and shocking because of the role the race played. However, it was an isolated case, and we need to consider it as a national wake-up. Across the country, water systems are all badly maintained and in dire need of modernization. From new lead services in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Newark, New Jersey, to silk and debris in drinking water. Drinking water after heavy rain in Austin, Texas, to fecal contamination in Penn Township, Pennsylvania. Worse, some are managed by dysfunctional agencies, which incompetence and social, economic, and racial bias may determine whether a community is made sick or by drinking water. The real reality is that we can no longer stand by that our water is safe to drink. How unsafe is it? Depending on the source of contamination and exposure. Health experience efforts include neurological problems, development problem, disability in children, lead, interference with hormones, increased risk of cancer, skin cancer, kidneys, arsenic. The Environmental Protection Agency regulates more than 90 contaminants, which 100 more are tracked as far as unregulated. Everyone has a right to clean water, no matter what you look like. How much money will you make? Which political party in America? That right is enshrined in Clean Water in 1972, which defines the EPA regulates water pollutions in U.S. waterways and Safe Drinking Water Act in 1974, which establishes maximum amount of pollutants in public water system. Those federal laws were passed at the peak of environmental degradation in our country, a time when smog choked our cities, Rivers were so contaminated they regularly caught fire. Those laws and many other regulations at state, city levels have made great progress since toward reducing pollution and addressing public health. Some of us now don't worry about toxicity in the air for our children afternoon soccer game or the flammability of the local river. Primarily because our environmental protection has worked, but in far many places around the country, these basic uphold and force people to suffer and sequence. Look at Puerto Rico. The water situation there was unacceptable. The nation is the worst in the nation. Even before Hurricane Maria in 2017, an analysis of my organization, National Resource Defense Council, showed that almost all of Puerto Rico's residents in 15 got their water from septic systems that were violated in the Safe Drinking Water Act, and nearly 70% to get tap water from sources contaminated from chloroform, bacteria, disinfections by products, and more. Maria created a full-blown down humanitarian crisis. People have had no choice but to get their drinking water from toxic sources. Scores ended up in emergency rooms with gastrointestinal illness, even more every year after the storm. Puerto Ricans are still warned to boil their water. As climate changes increase the intensity of duration of the hurricane season, Puerto Rico would likely find itself in even more dire circumstances that we need to invest specifically resources now in islands' water and power infrastructure, which remains fragile at best. So far, U.S. leaders have proved only a small fraction of what Puerto Rico's needs to protect itself by shortchanging the American island. We are condemning it to more chemical-related description in ongoing water crisis in many other vulnerable communities are in the same fix across country, across America. The first step in securing clean drinking water is better information. In 2016, New York became the first state in the country to require school districts to test water sources from lead, something the Safe Water Drinking Act to do. NRDC looked at the data on drinking water from New York's public schools. Our analysis showed 82% of the public schools in New York had one or more taps that exceeded the state's lead action level. And as you might expect, the problem was worse in lower income schools. New York already is one of the 10 states, along with the District of Columbia, to acquire universal blood tests for lead between ages 3 and the other ages not coming through here. Age 3, newly armed with data on lead sources. The state has an opportunity to protect 2.7 million children in public schools, including my daughter, to become an example for other states. Lead makes headlines, but it's not the half of it. The more we look at pollution, the more we find that the list of contaminants is long. Chloroform bacteria near dairy farms in Wisconsin, nitrates from fertilizers in Iowa's rivers, lead, mercury, uranium, fracking fluids in places like Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, North Dakota, toxic chemicals such as those in Teflon that are that they find in the blood of 90% of the people in the United States. Nearly every country in the world far more carries this topic. The problem may feel overwhelming, but together we can solve it. We need to start with basics, like replacing lead pipes, fixing deteriorating mains. We can modernize our aging water infrastructure with more filtration and our treatment process to better purify wastewater, but it enters into the drinking water system. We need to be better regulate pollutants, strengthen protectors from drinking water, improve testing, a bonus. We can all do our share and create good paying new jobs in communities throughout the country. It all begins by insisting that clean water may not be treated as a partisan issue. No method how you voted in the past 2 elections, you didn't vote for contaminated drinking water. So together we need to hold government officials to account of all levels. We can start with leaders in Washington who, in my estimation, are trying to shrink the government's role in protecting public health. In 1970, millions of Americans rose up and demanded stronger environmental health protections, won them. Nearly 50 years later, we need to rise up again. This is where you come in. You can join the many people taken to the streets to march for a clean environment. You can read up on water issues in your community, then attend town hall, water department hearings. You can call your water representatives, and water representatives, and tell them about the water quality to you and your family. Your voice is exactly what's required now to defend the real right to clean water. Well, that's true, because you're gonna see marches in Worcester and Shrewsbury about water, about everything, very shortly. It's coming. It's coming. It's all coming. That's the thing. That's the whole thing. I'll start one article. It's kind of long, but I'll finish it the next show. Did I read this already? Yeah, I think I did. I can forget that. People who think they run Shrewsbury. Town manager shows no interest in Shrewsbury. Finance committee gives away all the money to the school department, and they take it. Planning and zoning boards are very good. Selectmen have a lot to learn. A school department is awful. It's 10 rooms addition. They want to put a 10-room addition. 5 they want the taxpayers to pay for, and the other 5 they want the residents to give free cash. Yeah, that makes sense. But to the school department, they should resign. This town has too many brown noses. All the politicians stop lying. At one point, the superintendent stated he could not afford $50 for the full-time patrolman at the high school. After how many years? Take the money out of his pocket. He's making enough. He's stealing enough. I mean, that's terrible what he says about that, excuse me, about what he's talking about. If people hate us so bad, Let me read you something. Hate me, actually, which, it's a gift. It's a gift. I always had a gift like that. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Dr. Claremont, I was asked when I appeared on Bob Abraham's show, Know the Facts. Mr. Abraham is a Vietnam vet who has several disabling medical conditions. He has dedicated his life to informing the public in Shrewsbury on the facts of our local issues and our government. I was proud to appear with him discussing senior issues. We'll have a show, what is normal and what is abnormal in aging. I will encourage you to watch it. Channel 28, Saturday, 7:30. In other news, I highly endorse the products at the farmers market, corn, tomatoes, whatever. Enjoy our friendly senior center program while you're here. Remember, every Wednesday, 2:30 to 6:30. They have the farmers market, which is very, very good. Anytime you can eat fresh fruit, is very fresh vegetables and stuff like that is very, very, very good for you. And you can make a lot of recipes out of that. What's this here? Give me a minute here. I just gotta change the thing. Superintendent, Dr. Sawyer should step down to make $185,000 a year available to the school budget. His salary before benefits. His job can be done as an assistant, Mr. Collins, probably making $100,000 regional position in 4 towns, just like they're doing with the dog catcher and the Board of Health. May have to be initiated at state level. Mrs. Kane and Karen Polito may push it. Also, what to do with Matt Beaton and John LeBeau. Do any way at the state level. Part-time work, full-time pay, whatever you want to do. That makes good sense. For 4 hours a night, 3 hours a night. They gotta make something, but not a full year's pay. Superintendent Dr. Sawyer should step down to make $185,000 a year available to school budget. His yearly salary before benefits. His job can be done by a much lower paid person. $85,000 business consultant can do it. Plus he has an assistant, Mr. Collins, probably making $100,000 regional, positional, 4 towns, just like they doing with the dog catcher and the Board of Health. What time is it? May have to be initiated at state level. Mrs. Kane and Mrs. Polito might do that. Also, what does Matt Beaton and John LeBeau do? I don't know. Matt Beaton has given up his position for, I hope, a better job, because he's a good kid. He's a smart kid. Very educated. Very, very educated person. Beale School is so crazy to get going so soon after the library project. Sherwood and the high school, all within the last 20 years. Town is turning into a welcome wagon for the Far East people who try to bring whole families in from India and alike. Here are some good food ideas. Dog catchers retiring, getting recognized from Westboro and Grafton. We pay major roles in their shares. Old Leona loves her Chinese buffet and walks down and would sleep it off to get down to SAC Park. Mel Goody, I don't know who he is. He makes good sense. He makes goody sense. Bob, thank you for reading emails on your show. I remain on the couch and have a question. Why are you so opposed to planting grass on Shrewsbury's children? Because for the last 2,000 years, ball fields have been used with no good grass on any school, anywhere. When they get older or go to college, they're gonna find out why. They're gonna find out why. They can put knee pads on. They're gonna hurt them. Somewhat of a lot tax, $90 a year, residential for most. Town screwed us up on a tax end around a game plan. They just pulled off a Prop 2.5 override around for $1.8 million per year. Now new town manager is a tax and spend rat. Created the a la carte mandatory tax, just like the big blue 150 bags, without voting to take it out of tax revenue. They gave the new selectman position from Morris Heath to John Samia, the Polito cane machine at work. He was on the school committee, as was Beth Cassavan. Well, thank you very much for listening to the show. And it's getting late, and I think I went over. And I will see you next time on Note of Facts. Thank you for watching, and have a good evening.